Hello, everyone. I hope that you are well. I will be talking about how I personally connect with my light language practice. So, before actually starting my practice, I always have to make sure that I feel good, because with the work that I do, it requires a certain level of awareness. So I need to be aware of myself as well as my surroundings. So with that, like connecting myself to my surroundings and making sure that I'm grounded, I have come to know over the years that I am very good at having my emotions show on the outside, and that can make my work mirror my emotions. So I just have to be very careful about what thoughts are going through my head, how I'm feeling about myself, how I'm feeling about the world around me and the others that I'm interacting with on a daily basis. And that energy and that mindset, that's all infused into the work that I do. So whatever I end up putting out, I have to ultimately feel comfortable with myself in order to put the best work out, and making sure that I feel confident and I really do feel good and overall positive about my day before I go into the light language practice is so essential for me, and that has now become a non-negotiable. Yeah, and again, like, I've noticed that there are times where my emotions are quite heavy and difficult to navigate, and on a subconscious level that has been reflected through some of my content. And while that is me being authentic, it kind of doesn't open up the healing energy to the level that I'm really wanting to transmute and share with the world. So while that is a part of my lived experience, there is a way that I'm learning to kind of like balance the two, and having my energy field clear and working on thinking positively and looking on the bright side before I do something such as light language is important, because otherwise you guys will feel it, and then I I kind of don't want to push that heavier energy onto you. I'm the place and the person that you should come to when you need a break from the world, because the world is heavy now, and it has been. So the idea and the intention is that when you are stressed or overwhelmed, you come to me and say, hey, I'm feeling this emotion, do you have something to help? And I'll say, yeah, I can create something, and ta-da, like you have a beautiful and sparkling customized light language meditation or ceremony, whichever you decide to choose. But on the other side of that, when I feel good, you feel good. I do like to kind of think of myself as like a moving crystal, or like a moving shell, like mermaid shell or cowrie shell, because when you hold on to an object you take on the energy, the vibration of that thing, whether you're aware of it or not, and you are also sharing your energy with that thing. So even with something as small as this ring, like I am sharing my energy with this, with my necklace, with my glasses, with the shirt that I'm wearing. Did I put that on? Yeah, I put that on right. So with anything that you touch and interact with, there is that energy exchange. So again, me being really intentional about what it is that I want to share and how I want to share it with you guys is kind of at the forefront of my mind. So I will always try to make sure that my energy is in a good place before I share anything. Like, full transparency, earlier I took some new medication and I just wanted to sleep. So instead of trying to like power through, which I did do because I was being quite stubborn, and I actually said, you know what, I am going to really push through because I've already slept, but the work that I was doing wasn't great. So I was like, you know what, I am in the position to say when enough is enough, and I can set those boundaries with myself, because it's not that I'm completely pushing that work off, it's just I'm giving myself more of a grace period in order to get myself in the right frame of mind so that I can put out the best work possible. So yeah, and then I, like, the first thing that I needed to make sure that I prioritized was my my shake that I didn't have in the morning, and over the past few weeks my shake is the first thing that I have, and that didn't happen. So that small action meant that I struggled with my mood, my energy, and it just had a knock-on effect because I had set out to make this video a lot earlier in the day, and like, life is happening right now, so I am trying not to be too hard on myself. But again, I feel like if I tried to make this video earlier, it wouldn't have felt comfortable to do so, and I would feel like I'm constantly fighting against myself. And being a brand owner and building a business, I have to fully embody the things that I'm sharing with you. So in order for me to say, like, it's okay, you can come here and release your stress, I physically have to do that myself, and do it to a point where not to where it looks or feels performative, like I'm actually getting something out of it. So that is where I just took myself away, had a few moments to myself, and then I was able to transmute that energy. And yeah, I just needed that extra few moments to myself before deciding, right, my mind, my body, and my spirit, they're all in harmony. Now it's time to get things moving in the direction that they were supposed to be going earlier on in the day. So making sure that my basic needs are honoured in a timely manner is really important, because that self-care element is going to help me carry on with sharing the things that I love to help others like yourself feel calmer, at peace, so that you can end up doing the things that you want and need to without feeling burnt out, stressed, overwhelmed, to the point at which you decide to like shut down and just completely ignore what is going on, not only around you but also inside of you, because your internal world is very important as well. So with that, the energy that I have going on internally and like in my surroundings will ultimately be infused in the sound healings, the guided meditations, or even if I'm recording anything like in a space like this, there are going to be things that could potentially be distracting. And because I am now taking it incredibly seriously, like I'm saying things and then allowing my body and mind to back me up with it. So I'm not just somebody who is able to say a lot but then not provide the proof. Like I'm starting to allow myself to honor my words on a deeper level, and that all comes with respecting the energy of not only like my own body but the energy of the people that I interact with. And because my audience, like you guys, are going to be receiving something that I will ultimately be putting a lot of energy and a lot of time and a lot of love into, I care about how that is going to feel for you. And it all just starts with me and how I'm able to manage my energy. So to begin with, I actually begin by clearing my entire space. So I will pick somewhere that is like it feels right, it feels comfortable for me. So for now, this space here is where I feel comfortable filming, because with how I would like to stay calm and as regulated as possible, you'll notice the background, there's hardly anything going on here. So that means that I can focus on what it is that I am doing, which is recording and sharing things without getting distracted by anything going on here. And there's literally a window right in front of me. So I've got a bit of a view if I feel like I need to have a break or anything. But that view is really peaceful, and one day I will maybe show it to you. But it's calming, it's it's not really distracting me, so I am able to focus. So that is then allowing me, as I'm clearing the space on a physical level, like just making sure that I've got enough space to take up as much space as I need to with any of the sessions or the projects that I'm doing. When it comes to light language, I really do allow the healing frequency to take up as much space as it needs to. And sometimes I will do it so it only takes up a little bit of time or a little bit of my like physical space in my body. So it'll like take up this section here, but on other days it could like go all the way across, and it could kind of like radiate up my up and around my face, and it could go all the way up and through my crown chakra and into the universe, like that. Like it all depends. So with that, I allow my physical space to cater for that. So I don't feel like I'm having to like squish myself into a small area, because then I will tend to get frustrated because I know that the project is bigger than what the physical space I have around me. Okay, so when I am looking to clear my space, I really want to make sure that I have enough physical space to allow my creativity to flow. And as I'm doing this, I'm thinking about the intention for the session. And while I'm doing it, I'm constantly checking in with my body. So I am I'm getting a lot better at learning how to check in with myself. But again, while I'm meditating and while I'm checking the space for any areas of resistance or any places where I'm like, oh, that feels a bit tense, if I'm creating and a part of me feels tense, then that's going to come through in the either the message or the actual production side of it. Because once I create something, I will always say, and I've said this to clients as well, like the raw recording is the most important part, because if you can get the best recording, raw recording, so no edits, nothing, that allows for the best production and all the edits and stuff to happen afterwards, because you've got a really good quality starting point, and then you don't have to spend too much time taking away too much. You can just add certain things, but then sometimes you're able to see that less is more, and that is just sometimes how things should be. Like, simplicity is key. So again, like, this is sort of the mindset that I'm going through, and there is like a narrative that I'm sort of like processing as I'm removing certain things or bringing particular objects into the space to allow the intention to really be infused in the light language session, or even the meditation before I even get there. So what is actually happening is, while I'm doing all of this and I'm flowing around and just getting myself set up, there's not a lot of pressure on me at this point, but there will usually come a point where I will get an intuitive yes to begin the next stage. And what typically happens with me is I can't move to the next stage until I get that yes. Then I conduct a sacred ceremony, and this helps me switch from busy mode, kind of like doing the chores and doing all the other everyday stuff, and then switching into the magic mode. And this is what I am quite often calling the bliss mode, because I switch from being there for everybody else, and then I'm focusing on me and my creativity for that period of time. So there is a definite switch, and the sacred ceremony allows me to do that with the light language. That then helps you get more comfortable with the way that I would work, and then that is felt in any of the work that I do, but most importantly, the sound healings, because that's something that is designed mostly to be put on while you're doing something else. So you could be asleep, you could be getting things done around the house, you could be working. So this is something that allows you to really take on that energy, as long as you consent to it, and then you just allow it to work with you. And this ceremony, the sacred ceremony that I'm conducting for myself to prepare everything, it can be as short as 10 minutes, or it can be extended and it can span over 90 minutes or even longer. But it all depends on what the intention is that I set right at the beginning. So while I was clearing up, and I don't rush this process. I allow myself to really feel into the intention. And again, with a lot of my creative processes, if I end up rushing that, the energy doesn't quite match, and that is then reflected in the results that I receive or don't receive with particular pieces. So and another thing is that I nicely just have little breaks in between, and it can be quite they can be quite short and sharp breaks, or it can take a little while. So I may have many breaks, and this is to help me reduce my own burnout. So like learning more about what my body is able to do on a certain day, on a good day versus a not so good day, and realizing that as long as I am consistent and I am showing up, that doesn't need to look the same every single day, but as long as I'm making progress, that is something that I can feel good about. So to prevent the burnout and getting stressed over making sure I have everything sorted in the time frame that I originally set, I'm learning to be a lot more flexible with my time and the way that I'm using it. So if there are things that crop up in life, I'm able to remember that I can put this project down, I can put a pause in it, and I can reach a checkpoint and say, right, okay, I'm gonna make some notes, I can come away from it, and then I can shift back into it. But again, when I move away and then come back, I will have to do a mini ceremony. So that would probably be like the 10-minute one, just to make sure that the energy moving from outside the creative space back in matches. Otherwise, again, there is another level of disconnect when it comes to me having my creative flow interrupted. So I absolutely love that part of the process. And then in the moment, so when I'm done with the sacred ceremony, I spend a lot of time connecting with my magic, and this is something that I'm really intentional with. So I have particular things that are aligned with that intention, and because I am fully embodying Yemaya, I let my creativity flow without distraction, ideally. So I am very good at knowing when is the right time for me to have these like deeper sessions, because I know that when I start to be creative, I can continue and I can just flow and flow and flow. And there will come a point where I feel really good about myself because I'm like, yes, this is clicking, this next bit is clicking. And as I am channeling whatever I'm doing, or as I'm just being my creative mermaidy self, it's allowing things to just fit together like a puzzle piece, even though I most of the time don't actually have a plan for the sort of like the middle pieces. Like I will probably have some idea of where I want to start, and I would know possibly how I would like it to end, but the middle is just the murky, murky deep sea, and I will just have to navigate the seaweed of emotions to figure out what this light language piece would look like. And then at this point, as I'm flowing, I'm also integrating and anchoring in to make sure that I stay grounded so that I'm able to remember why I'm channeling a certain thing, why I'm spending so much time on it. And then it allows me to remember my why. Like, why am I creating this? What is the bigger picture here? And then that helps with me boosting my productivity and overall just outlook on all things entrepreneurial and just business. And it is nice because I can really get in touch with that softer, more expressive version of me. And honestly, that's the version that loves to create stuff. And it's not the version of me that creates stuff just to get stuff out there. It's because I want to make a difference. It's because I want somebody to find my stuff, whether it's somebody in the UK or if it's somebody somewhere across the pond. I don't mind, as long as I'm doing my part by sharing my stuff. That's the important part, and as long as I feel proud of each piece that I'm creating, that's all I can do. So once I'm done, I come out of that space and I journal and write out my thoughts about what has happened, how I'm feeling. And what this does is it allows me to be objective, so I can break away from the creative, like the zoomed in version of me where I'm looking at like all the small parts, and it just gives me a break. So I can recharge and then come back to it with relaxed ears and eyes. And then it makes it easier when it comes to me editing and posting my stuff. So I hope that has been helpful. My battery is about to die, so I will catch up with you probably tomorrow. But yeah, I will speak to you in a little while, and I hope that you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you soon.